Hey.
My strawberry kisses, I could fly through the wind.
Have you ever seen a painting that looked extremely realistic? Jake was waiting for his mom when he saw a strangely realistic painting, but he made one mistake that would lead to terrifying consequences. During his mom's doctor's appointment, Jake was sitting alone in the hospital waiting room. That's when he saw the painting. It looked so real, almost like a photo. He was promised ice cream if he sat quietly, but he found himself growing more and more curious. He felt like he needed to move closer to the painting, so he got up and walked towards it. The painting was of an old man, but there was something wrong with it. It seemed like the eyes would follow Jake no matter where he'd walk. But soon something even more unbelievable would happen, something no one can explain. The painting, needless to say, made Jake feel creeped out, but he tried not to feel so scared. It was a painting after all. Then Jake leaned in and saw one weird detail. The old man had unusually long fingers and fingernails. A bit later, Jake's mom came out of the doctor's office, but Jake was nowhere to be found. She called him but got no reply. Then she turned around and saw a very realistic painting on the wall. The boy in the painting looked oddly familiar.
This is gonna be a story time of when my stepbrother killed our dog and fed it to me and my little sister for dinner. Let's get right into it. So my mom had died when I was younger and my dad had remarried. So I had a stepmom and she had a son. This motherfucker, let me tell you, we did not get along. I fought with him all the time, but it's because he was a little bitch. He would always bully me and my little sister and make fun of our weight. He would threaten to beat us up just for fun. Like, you in our house, get it together. I began to scold my dad because he was the one who brought them in this fucking house and he wasn't doing nothing about it. He knew they were tearing our family apart and he did nothing. So, anyways, one night, my parents weren't home and my stepbrother had to watch me and my little sister. Like I said, he was a little bitch, so he was upset because he had plans to hang out with his girlfriend. But that really sounds like a personal problem. Let me stop coming at this man. It's just making me angry thinking about it. So my dad had sent my stepbrother money so he could go get groceries so he could make us dinner. But my stepbrother didn't want to, so he sent me instead. Oh, mind you, I was like 12 at the time. And he sent me alone and my little sisters were sleeping. When I came home and knocked on the door, I noticed that our dog didn't run up to see who was at the door like she usually did. Then I smelled something coming from the kitchen, like for part 2. This is gonna be part 2 of how my stepbrother killed our dog and fed it to me and my little sister for dinner. So like I said, I got home from the grocery store and our dog didn't run up to the door like she usually did. I didn't think much of it and then I smelled something coming from the kitchen. What could he possibly be cooking if there's no groceries? And no, I didn't automatically think, oh, he's cooking our dog. Just hold on. Whatever was cooking on the stove smelled like shit. It made the whole house stink, but like I said, I didn't think too much of it. Now that I think of it, I heard the laundry machine going and my family had a set schedule for laundry. Like, we never did laundry off schedule, so that was kind of weird. My parents are just very organized people, besides the point. So I go upstairs to wake up my little sister and I see my stepbrother pass me and go down to the kitchen. An hour or so goes by and he calls us downstairs and says dinner is ready. All he did was boil some corn, give us canned peas, and some slab of meat. The meat was burnt, by the way, but I guess food is food. So we started eating this atrocious meal, and all I could think about were these tiny little hairs that just kept going in my mouth. I kept pulling pieces out my mouth. Mind you, this hair had no color. It was burnt. Now our dog loved to eat dinner with us, but she was nowhere to be seen. I started looking for her and I realized that she's missing. This is gonna be part 3 of the time my stepbrother killed our dog and fed it to us for dinner. So like I said, I started looking around for the dog. I asked my little sister if she's seen her. She said no. So I asked my stepbrother and he says no too. Somebody fucking lie. Who the fuck is lying? Cause it ain't fucking me. Let me fucking stop. Okay, so we trying to find this dog. I call my dad. He says she probably ran away, but no one let her outside that day. And I know she didn't just go outside. So the days pass and we're still looking for her and we hang up missing posters. I got my friends to help me. My dad's looking, my stepmother, my little sister, and even my stepbrother. As time goes on, my little sister and I began to fall sick. We go to the doctor. They say we have stomach problems. They said it was probably from something that we ate. And I'm thinking to myself, what abnormal thing did I eat? That random slab of meat. Because there was no groceries. Where the fuck did he find that meat from? So I'm putting pieces together. You know, we're falling sick. The meat was hairy. Our dog is missing. Eventually, my dad ends up finding the dog, but it was dead and cut up. This is gonna be part 4 of the time my stepbrother cooked our dog and fed it to me and my little sister for dinner. So my dad ends up finding our dog hidden under some sticks in our backyard, but it was dead and cut into pieces. I might have been 12, but I wasn't dumb. I knew what the fuck was going on. So once my dad brings us this news, after he's done telling us what he found, I pulled him to the other room. I told him what I peeped. I was sobbing and I told him I think it was my stepbrother who did it. I told him about the dog not meeting me at the door, the smell of the kitchen, the hairs, the laundry, the fact that we got sick. I gave him all the puzzle pieces, but he told me that he didn't believe me. He said, and I quote, "Your stepbrother might be mean to you, but he's not crazy." I said, Because it's right there. It is right in front of you. Like, the evidence speaks for its fucking self. I ain't gotta say too much. So my dad ends up not doing anything to my stepbrother. He faced literally 0 consequences. I'm 19 now and I don't talk to him anymore. Till this day, I 110% believe that my stepbrother did it.
Story of the time my childhood was ruined for the first time. So basically the house that I lived in my entire life had a giant tree outside in the front yard. I called it my climbing tree. I would climb that tree and hug it and literally talk to it as if it was a person. This is gonna sound really corny, but every time that I got into problems with my neighbor, if you've been here for a while, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Anytime I would have problems with my family, at school, anything in general, I would climb the climbing tree and I would sit on one of its branches and I would just talk to it, you know? I would be like, "You're the only person here for me." And it was a tree. Now that I'm telling this story, I realize how sad it is. Then one bright sunny afternoon, I get home from school. What do I see outside? The landscapers. What do I see on the side of the road? My climbing tree! So I don't really know what to call this story time, so I'll just tell it. When I was 13, I was forced to go to this summer camp. It was a 4-week Christian sleepaway camp. We weren't allowed to have any electronics on us the entire time. During prayer and worship, the boys had one side of the room and the girls had the other. And if a girl and boy were talking for too long, a counselor would get in between them and separate them. But anyway, all the girls stayed in one big room with like 20 bunk beds. And every single night before we would go to sleep, we were forced to sit in a giant circle and do like Bible studies. And then like go around in a circle and pray. And there was this one girl that was either gay or bi, I don't really remember. But she had told the camp counselor that in confidence. I guess because, you know, like she probably grew up religious and was like struggling with that. And was maybe just not ready to accept herself yet. I have no idea. But this camp counselor, in the middle of the prayer circle, outed the girl by being like, "Dear Lord, please help cure her." And then to make things worse, she said to us, "Don't worry guys, she's gonna leave the room when you guys change." Christian camp part 2. So all the girls in our cabin, which was around 20, had to sit in a giant circle and take turns reading things from the Bible and praying. And a supervisor was in there with us as well. So one of the girls had came out to the counselor in confidence, and the counselor took it upon herself to pray for her, basically saying, "Father God, please cure her, take the demons out of her," which obviously wasn't what the girl wanted, because she told the counselor that in confidence. And then the counselor decides to say, "Don't worry, everyone, she's gonna leave the room whenever you guys decide to change, so none of you feel uncomfortable," completely disregarding how uncomfortable that would make the girl feel. And I wasn't about to just let that happen, and I caused a scene. I was like, "Do you even notice what you're doing? You're singling her out when she told you this information about herself because she trusted you. And then you out her in front of everybody here, and then treat her differently than everybody else. You're evil. That's literally not what religion should be about." And I got in trouble for standing up for her. Story of the time my friend snuck out of her house to see a boy and I had to cover for her in front of her parents. So this was our freshman year of high school, which made us at that time 14. So my friend, we'll call her Kate, she was talking to this boy. And she would always tell me how she snuck out of her house to see him at night, to have relations of sorts. And one weekend she asked me to sleep over. She told me that she was planning on seeing him. And I was okay with it. I just didn't want to be in the awkward position of if she got caught. At the time, I don't know why I didn't see a problem with this. Probably because we were kids. But the guy that she was seeing was 23. So anyway, we go in her basement. She tells her parents that we were going to watch a movie and then probably go to bed. So her parents go to sleep and we hung out for a few hours until she was ready to go out. She had a giant window in her basement that she would sneak out of. Before she left, she told me to go up to her room and to watch her get into his car. She told me that if her parents wake up, tell them that she's taking pictures of trees. Mind you, this is like 2 a.m. So I'm watching through the window, and as she gets to the street, a huge white van pulls up, which concerned me. Story of the time I slept over my friend's house and she snuck out in the middle of the night to see a boy. Part 2. So I'm upstairs in her room looking at her window to make sure that she gets to his car. And a white van pulls up. Keep in mind, she told me that she's seen this guy before. So she starts running to the van. And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of freaked out. So I started texting and calling her, and she wasn't answering the phone. And like I said, she told me that if her parents were to come in the room, to tell them that she was outside taking pictures of the trees. She left around 2 a.m., and I didn't get a text or a call back from her for hours. So I started contemplating telling her parents. I heard walking around the house around 6 a.m., so I turned off her light and laid in her bed and acted like I was sleeping. I also put pillows next to me to make it look like there was 2 of us in the bed. Her mom ended up coming in the room, but didn't say anything, and I was too nervous to tell her. So her mom goes back in the room, and around 7 o'clock, she finally gets back. She said she wasn't looking at her phone, cause they were, getting down. for 5 hours. And she said she had a really great time. Turns out the white van was his work van. Story of the time this girl tried to fight me at the mall for no reason. I was a freshman in high school at the time, and I went to the mall with my boyfriend and my friend. The mall that we were at has 2 levels. We were on the upper level. And just to paint a picture in your head, there's a balcony on top so you could see the lower level, but there's also 2 sides. So like a walkway on one side, a gap where you could see the lower level, and then another side. So we were on one side sitting on a couch, and the girl that wanted to fight me was my ex-boyfriend's cousin's friend. We always had beef for no reason, and it was never on my part either. She always hated me and always wanted to start stuff with me. So while we were sitting on the couch, I see her walking on the opposite side of the balcony, and we make eye contact. And she starts screaming, "Oh, look who it is! It's my best friend! Oh, look!" And immediately I was like, oh my god, great, we're gonna have to deal with this. I thought it was gonna end there. We ignored her so that she would go away. But nope, she walks on the other side of the balcony and comes up to us. She says to my boyfriend at the time, "Do you realize you're dating a..." Can't say it. Story of the time a girl tried to fight me in the mall for no reason. Part 2. So she walks up to me and my ex-boyfriend, and she says to him, "Do you realize you're dating a..." Can't say that. And my ex-boyfriend just looked at me and I didn't know what to say. Then the girl started getting really nasty and getting closer to my face. The only comeback I could think of is ghetto life. So I just kept saying that and it got her more and more mad. Until eventually she said she wanted to fight me. So she's over here causing a scene in the mall. And my friend started to not have it. Once the girl starts getting closer and closer to me, kind of like jerking back and forth, being like, "What you gonna do? What you gonna do?" My friend was like, "Okay, if you want to fight somebody, maybe you should fight somebody your own age." Because my friend was actually over 18 and the girl was 17. And the girl was not expecting that. So the girl was like, "Okay, I'll fight you too." She was like, "I could take both of you easy." And I was like, "Bro, I don't want to fight you." I was like, "You hate me for no reason and you're starting a problem over what? Because you think I'm a skunk? Like, leave me alone." And the girl was like, "You're lucky we're in the mall. And you're lucky my mom said I can't get arrested again." Then we left.